Welcome to new Happy Learning video. Today, we're going to learn about how society was transformed by science and technology. Today, we're going to learn about intellectual revolution. What is an intellectual revolution? It is the period where paradigm shift occurred. It is where the scientific beliefs that have been widely embraced and accepted by the people were challenged and opposed. The first intellectual revolution is the Copernican revolution. But what is it in the first place? Copernican revolution is a major shift of worldwide views from believing that the Earth is the center of the universe to believing the sun-centered solar system, which is proposed by Nicholas Copernicus. Before, there are two competing models of the solar system. The geocentric model shows that the Earth is a center of the universe. This theory was supported by Aristotle and Ptolemy. For many years, people believed this theory as a fact. The geocentric model was not challenged until Nicholas Copernicus entered the scene. He made the manuscript called the De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, or On the Revolution of Heavenly Spheres, where he presented his discussion of the heliocentric model. He explained that the center of the universe is not the Earth, but the Sun. The manuscript he made is not published immediately because it might cause a huge tear. The publication of his book made an impact with the people. It is safe to say that it became the start of a Copernican revolution. There are people who give evidences the heliocentric theory which was proposed by Copernicus. There were Galileo Galilei, Tycho Brahe, and Johannes Kepler. Galileo's invention, which is the telescope, made him see the heavenly bodies clearer and provided facts that would support heliocentric theory. Tycho, on the other hand, used measurements to give a new interpretation of solar system, while Kepler used calculus to give laws and formulas that would also prove the heliocentric theory. It was not easy because at first, the church was against heliocentrism. They believed the geocentric theory, so whoever is against it will be punished, but evidences were provided with the use of mathematics and technology. The heliocentric model is actually the true model of the solar system. The whole Copernican revolution was a way to set up the truth. Its contribution to science and especially astronomy is truly revolutionary. If not for it, we may still think that the Earth is at the center. The effort and knowledge of the people behind it must be appreciated and acknowledged, for without them, the truth about the nature and the environment we live in will not be known. The fact that we are aware of what the world and the universe we are in is something to be grateful of. Next is the RHEENA'S Revolution. In 1835 of the Galapagos Island, young English naturalist Charles Darwin collects animals and plant specimens for study. His observation on this island will be fundamental in formulating his theories, which many years later will be published in his great work on the origin of species, a revolutionary book that changed the way biology was understood, giving rise to new scientific theories. In this book, Darwin laid down the scientific principle that each species had not always been the way we know it today. Rather, each one had changed and altered over time. Three concepts are important for understanding Charles Darwin theories. First is the natural selection, second is evolution, and third is origin of species. In animals and plants, rare mutations and modification can appear. For example, a moth that is born a different color than its parent. Imagine that this mutation or new traits improves an animal's ability to survive in its environment. Animals with this favorable trait will be better adapted to where they live and have a better chance to feed themselves and to reproduce than other animals of the same species without the traits. The offspring of the parents with favorable characteristics will normally inherit those same characteristics. So generation after generation, a trait that was rare occurs more frequently, becoming the norm within the species. This process is called natural selection. With the passing of time, these favorable mutations accumulate when species change, constantly adapting to environment that never stops changing. Here's how the evolution of species takes place. Two groups of animals of the same species that adapt to two different environments over time can come to constitute different species. This way, a process as simple as natural selection helps us to understand the origin of species. Charles Darwin was one of the most important men of his era, and many consider him among the most influential scientists in his history. His theories in the origin and evolution of species were very new for his time and are still studied and discussed to this day. Darwin died in 1882. His legacy changed the thinking of an era and opened the door to a new way of understanding science, the world, and the role humans play on this planet. And the last intellectual revolution that shaped human society is the Freudian Revolution. In the past, the field of psychology was always classified under philosophy. Psychology was considered more of an art rather than a science. In the late 19th century, Sigmund Freud was able to change people's perception of psychology with his revolutionary theory. Sigmund Freud is an Austrian neurologist who was born in Freiburg in Austrian Empire, which is Czech Republic now. On May 1856, he was classified as a doctor of medicine in 1881 at University of Vienna. Completed his habilitation in 1885 and was appointed a docent in neuropathology and affiliated professor in 1902. Year 1938, when he left Austria to escape the Nazis, unfortunately, he died in 1939 during an exile in United Kingdom. He was the one who founded the Freudian revolutionary approach, psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is a general theory of individual human behavior and experience. It is highly individualized and seeks to show how the unconscious factors affect behavior patterns, relationship, and overall mental health. Psychoanalysis as a therapy is solely based on a concept that individuals are unaware of the many factors that cause their behavior and emotions. These unconscious factors have the potential to produce unhappiness, which in turn is expressed through distinguishable symptoms, including disturbing personality traits, difficulty in relating to others, or disturbances in self-esteem or general disposition. Sigmund Freud, according to the principle of psychoanalysis, argued that personality is product of three conflicting elements. Id, the quality of being unconscious and contains everything that is inherited, everything that is present at birth, and instincts. Ego, the quality of being conscious and is responsible of controlling the demands of the id and of the instincts, becoming aware of stimuli and serving as a link between the id and the external world and responses. Stimulation by other adaptation or flight regulates activity and strives to achieve pleasure and avoid unpleasure. Superego is responsible for the elimination of satisfaction and represents the influence of others such as parents, teachers, and role models, as well as the impact of racial, societal, and cultural traditions. Science hardliners brush off the legitimacy of psychoanalysis as a science, since its concepts were more philosophical and supernatural. Many believe that Freud's theory has no scientific basis, as no empirical or experimental data could support it. Despite criticism, Freud still continued to work on refining his theory and explain its clinical significance. Freud's theory of psychoanalysis has still strength, and its significance in today's generation is evident. Today, as we are rapidly approaching the 21st century, psychoanalysis remains as a valid option for patients suffering from mental illnesses. Soon enough, people were able to understand the concepts of psychoanalysis, which eventually resulted in classifying psychology as a science. The acceptance and popularity of psychoanalysis is apparent through the existence of numerous institutes, organizations, and conferences established around the world, with psychoanalysis as their focus. The theory of psychoanalysis was innovation and revolutionary and clearly has withstood and test of time.